Most people think mental strength is something you're born with. Like either you have it or you don't. But that's completely wrong. And if you've ever watched someone stay calm in a crisis, bounce back from failure like it didn't even faze them, or keep going when everyone else quit, you probably wondered what they know that you don't. That's exactly what this video is about. Because mental strength isn't a personality trait. It's a set of habits. And habits can be learned. By the end of this, you're going to walk away with a completely different understanding of what it actually means to be mentally strong, and more importantly, how to start building it today. Let's be real for a second. We live in a world that's constantly trying to break you. Deadlines, pressure, comparison, rejection, self-doubt. Most people's default response to all of that is to either shut down or distract themselves. Scroll the phone, watch something, eat something. Anything to avoid feeling the weight of it. And that's not a personal failure. That's just what happens when nobody ever teaches you how to handle hard things. But mentally strong people have figured something out. It's not that their lives are easier. It's not that they don't feel stress or pain. They just respond to it differently. And the way they respond comes down to specific, repeatable habits. So let's get into them. The first habit is this: they feel the emotion and then they choose their response. Most of us were never taught the difference between feeling something and acting on it. When something goes wrong, the emotion hits and we react immediately. Someone says something harsh, you snap back. A plan falls apart, you spiral into panic. You get rejected, you tell yourself you're not good enough. That reaction feels automatic. But it's not. There's always a gap between the trigger and the response. Most people just never use it. Mentally strong people have trained themselves to pause in that gap. Viktor Frankl, a man who survived Nazi concentration camps and lost nearly everything, wrote about this exact idea. He said the last of all human freedoms is the ability to choose your attitude in any situation. And he wasn't writing from a comfortable life. He was writing from the worst possible circumstances imaginable. Now you don't have to face anything close to that. But his point stands. Between what happens to you and what you do next, there is always a space. And in that space is your power. The way you build this habit is simple but uncomfortable. When something frustrates you, before you do anything, just name the emotion out loud or in your head. I'm angry. I'm anxious. I'm embarrassed. That single act of labeling creates distance between you and the feeling. It sounds almost too simple, but it works. Try it today. Not in a big crisis. Just in a small annoying moment. See what happens. The second habit. They protect their focus like it's money. Here's a thought experiment. Imagine someone walked up to you every 20 minutes and took $10 out of your wallet. You'd be furious, right? You'd put a stop to that immediately. But that's essentially what's happening to your attention every single day. And most people just let it happen. Notifications, background noise, open tabs, someone asking you something when you're mid-thought. Every interruption doesn't just cost you that moment. Research has shown it can take over 20 minutes to get back to the same level of deep focus after a distraction. That means in an average workday, you might be getting just a couple of hours of real, productive thinking done. Mentally strong people understand that attention is their most valuable resource. Not time. Attention. Cal Newport, who wrote a book called Deep Work, studied people who produce extraordinary output. What set them apart wasn't that they worked more hours. It was that they worked in long, uninterrupted blocks where their full cognitive capacity was engaged. The habit is this: ruthlessly design your environment so that focus is the easy choice. Phone out of the room during your most important work. One task at a time, not four. A clear start time and end time to your deep work window. It won't feel natural at first. Your brain has been trained to crave stimulation. The discomfort you feel when you sit down to focus without distraction, that's withdrawal. Push through it. The other side of that discomfort is where the best work of your life gets done. If this is making sense so far, go ahead and like the video and subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown. Alright, let's keep going. Third habit. They rehearse difficulty before it arrives. This one might sound strange, but stay with me. Mentally strong people don't just hope things go well. They mentally prepare for things going wrong. Not in a pessimistic, doom and gloom way. In a strategic, almost athletic way. Think about how a professional fighter prepares for a fight. They don't just train their punches. They train what to do when they get hit. When they're tired. When the plan isn't working. Because they know the plan never survives contact with reality. The Stoic philosophers had a practice for this. They called it negative visualization. You briefly imagine the worst-case scenario, not to scare yourself, but to prepare your response and to remind yourself you can handle it. Say you have a big presentation coming up. Instead of just hoping it goes perfectly, you spend 5 minutes imagining it going badly. Your mind goes blank. The technology fails. Someone asks a question you can't answer. And then you ask yourself, okay, what would I do? How would I recover? Now you're no longer afraid of the scenario, because you've already lived it mentally and survived. This is different from anxiety. Anxiety is uncontrolled, looping, unproductive worry. This is deliberate, structured preparation. The difference is enormous. And there's a bonus effect to this habit. When things actually do go wrong, and they will, you don't panic. Because part of you already expected it could happen and you already know what to do. Fourth habit, they invest in themselves even when it feels unnecessary. Here's something I want you to really sit with. Most people only improve when they have to. When they get a bad grade, they study harder. When they get a health scare, they start eating better. When they get fired, they finally develop a new skill. They react to crisis. Mentally strong people operate on a different philosophy. They invest in themselves consistently before there's a crisis. Not because life forced them to, but because they understand that the compound effect of small improvements is one of the most powerful forces in the world. There's a story about a Japanese concept called Kaizen. After World War II, Japanese manufacturers began implementing a philosophy of continuous small improvement, tiny, incremental changes every single day. Within a few decades, it transformed their entire industry. Toyota, Honda, Sony. All built on the philosophy that 1% better, done daily, creates an extraordinary result over time. The same principle applies to you. If you read 10 pages of a useful book every day, in a year you've read roughly 15 books. If you practice one skill for 30 minutes each morning, in 6 months you have nearly 100 hours of deliberate practice under your belt. That's not nothing. That's a serious level of improvement. But here's the trap most people fall into. They don't see immediate results, so they stop. They want proof it's working before they commit. Mentally strong people flip that equation. They commit first, knowing the proof comes later. If you're waiting to feel ready, you'll wait forever. The people who are improving right now are the ones who started before they felt ready. Fifth habit, they cut off the exit routes. This one is uncomfortable. Because it goes against everything modern culture tells you about keeping your options open. We've been sold this idea that more options equal more freedom. And in some areas of life, that's true. But when it comes to building mental strength and achieving real goals, having too many exit routes is quietly destroying your progress. Here's how it shows up in real life. You start a business, but you keep your side hustle just in case. You commit to a fitness goal, but every time it gets hard you negotiate with yourself. You say you want to write a book, but you've been saying that for 3 years. The exit route isn't just a backup plan. It becomes the thing your brain runs to every time the work gets uncomfortable. There's a famous story about Hernán Cortés, the Spanish explorer who arrived in Mexico in 1519. When his men landed, he gave a shocking order. He had the ships burned. Not sunk. Burned. There was no going back. The only direction was forward. Now that's extreme. I'm not telling you to blow up your safety net. But I am telling you this. The version of you that's genuinely committed to something with no comfortable way out is a completely different human being than the version of you who's half in. Pick one thing you've been half committed to. Make it real. Set a public deadline. Tell someone. Remove the easy outs. And feel what shifts in you when retreat is no longer an option. Here's the payoff. The thing that ties all of this together. Most people spend their entire lives trying to feel more confident before they take action. They think confidence is the cause and action is the effect. Confidence comes first, then I'll do the thing. But mentally strong people have it backwards. Action comes first. Confidence is the side effect. Every single habit we talked about today, managing your response, protecting your focus, preparing for difficulty, investing in yourself consistently, removing your exits, all of it is action. None of it waits for you to feel ready. None of it waits for you to feel brave. And here's what happens when you act without waiting for confidence. You build evidence. Small pieces of proof that you are someone who does hard things. Every time you pause before reacting, you prove you're in control. Every time you sit down to focus when you don't feel like it, you prove you're disciplined. Every time you prepare for difficulty and it pays off, you prove you're competent. Eventually, you don't need to manufacture confidence. You just have it. Because it was built, brick, by everything you did when you didn't feel like doing it. That's the real secret of mentally strong people. They don't wait to become strong. They do the hard thing and the strength follows. Quick recap so it all sticks. 1. Feel the emotion, then choose your response. Use the gap between trigger and reaction. 2. Protect your focus like money. Design your environment so deep work is the default, not the exception. 3. Rehearse difficulty before it happens. Prepare your mind for what could go wrong so you're never caught off guard. 4. Invest in yourself before you need to. Small daily improvements compound into a life that most people only dream about. 5. Cut off the exit routes. Half commitment is the slowest, most painful way to fail. And underneath all of it, stop waiting to feel ready. Act first. Let confidence catch up. If any of these habits resonated with you, I'd genuinely love to know which one hit hardest. Drop it in the comments. Not because it helps the algorithm, but because writing it out actually helps it stick for you. That's backed by real research on retention. And if you want to go deeper on any of this, particularly on building focus and discipline in a world designed to steal your attention, the next video is about exactly that. How to break free from phone addiction for good, so that your default mode becomes high performance, not distraction. If the video was helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more powerful content like this. And check out this playlist for even more productive, mindset-shifting videos. See you in the next one.